Hello, this is Kim Townsel. This video is going to be more of a podcast because I'm going to not videotape myself reading a story to you. I wrote down what happened to me in a story form, and this is me reading it. Thanks for listening. On April 9, 2004, while wearing leather and lace, I married the person I thought was my soulmate on the shores of Lake Tahoe while my family watches. A week later, my husband finds a lump in my breast. On April 28th, I have a mammogram, and on May 5th, a sonogram. Both have benign findings. 13 days later, I'm back in the doctor's office. Not one medical person can feel the lump. Not one test proves its existence. On July 23rd, I stop packing from my move and run by the gynecologist's office. Today, I'm driving across the country to remodel my house and get a new job. The lump gets bigger and it hurts. I change bras, I cut down the caffeine, and I wait for October the 1st when my new insurance kicks in. My research assures me that breast cancer doesn't itch and breast cancer doesn't tingle. Since my breast does, I'm hoping for the best. This is just a cyst or angry fibroid tumor. My new doctor takes the lump seriously and schedules me for a mammogram, a sonogram, and a visit with the breast surgeon. The mammogram shows a clean breast, but the sonogram, this one, does not. I see the surgeon on December the 2nd. It's not a cyst, he says, but let's get it out and see what it is. Is tomorrow too soon for you? I hesitate, and he suggests we could wait until Monday. But how could I go all weekend with this in me? The surgeon removes the lump under general anesthesia the next day. After the surgery, the doctor and nurse assured me it was benign. My family celebrates in relief all weekend. Monday, while driving home from work, I called to ask my husband for some quiet time upon my arrival. I need to relax before getting into the groove of home. But when I walk in the door, he unloads about a household problem that I asked him to solve 10 days ago, and it's obvious from his plan that he didn't listen to what the air duct man said. I explode. With my work bag still in my arms, I let him have it about not paying attention and inconsiderately dumping on me. Then he says, the doctor called, it's cancer, but not to worry. He is an ass when he says this. I stand there stunned, the bag still in my arms. Welcome home, he says, and leaves the room. I literally cannot move. Then I cry and I'm afraid and I'm pissed at his insensitivity. I spend the next 5 hours researching on the internet through a wall of tears while he watches television and plays his guitar. I learned there are so many types of breast cancer. How can I be sure I'm looking up the right one? If he can't remember air filter information correctly, how can I trust him for breast cancer information? I don't call anyone. My mom is on vacation, and why worry my children until I can get accurate information? The next day at work, I move cautiously and hope my husband was mistaken. After work, I see the breast surgeon, and the first thing he says is, I hate to give you bad news. I tell him to never call my house and give information to any male who answers the phone. All info is to be left on my cell phone. He says, I didn't want you to go another day without knowing. He pulls the steri strip off my incision. That's a great big surgery we did on you. I say, really? He smiles no. I get dressed and he gives me the oncologist's information. Then he tells me he's retiring, but the oncologist is related to my new breast surgeon. I think everyone fully expected the little lump to be benign and assigned me to a guy who was retiring. My soon-to-be ex-surgeon says radiation would be overkill. Curious word choice, I think. He smiles and says he got it all. He provides tamoxifen and faith in his opinion. After 8 medical people giving me their opinions and only 2 thinking this just might be cancer, I have no faith in opinion. I need data, path reports, printouts, biopsies. Any lump that I might find in the future will be removed as soon as possible. The biopsy was nothing, but the fear is consuming. The surgeon tells me to stop taking my birth control pills. I say I did that the day before the surgery. I can no longer put estrogen in my body. The tumor in me loved estrogen, and I shouldn't feed cancer embryos in me. I wonder about drinking wine, eating soy. These are things I'll have to find out. It is horrible telling my family. Some cry and some don't. Most say they cry alone. My family members are fixers. I have 3 nurses and a medical executive in the family. We decide what to research, and their initial responses bear up the research that I've done so far. My mother gives me my father's pathology reports from 20 years ago. They don't help me any, but we thought it might. He and I were both 45 years of age when the cancers were documented. My family, we cannot get our cheery times and our maudlin times coordinated. When I'm crying, they're being stoic, and I want them to cry, damn it. I want someone to break down at the thought of losing me, someone to wail to think that I might have to have a breast whacked off, to grieve with me over the sickness of chemo. I want to see some tears, some fear, some pain. I'll learn the language of breast cancer, hormone receptor test, ductal or lobular, margins, tamoxifen, BRCA1 and BRCA2 gene testing, HER2 status, FISH testing. In the bookstore, I buy Dr. Susan Love's breast book, hoping no one recognizes me. I really don't want anyone to know unless they can offer help or useful advice. No sympathies or compassion given due to the C word. I order used books off Amazon, full of personal stories and tips, thinking maybe the vibes from the previous women readers will comfort me. One book review tells me that silk scarves slip off of the chemo-bared scalp. Cotton stays on better. What an excruciatingly practical tip. One that I'm glad to have. Would I buy a wig, wear a scarf, or a baseball cap, or go topless? I take the time to enjoy my personal hygiene routine. Am I pampering all my body parts and hope I get to keep them? Is looking good and being clean on the outside an offering to whip the inside into shape? I run bubble baths rather than showers and style my hair instead of twisting it into a messy ponytail. I'm more attractive these days, and I'm in such a calm, cheery mood at work no one would ever guess. I'm not faking it. That whole examine your life issue has calmed me in some weird way. Amazingly, I get more done and enjoy it more than when I ran around crazy and stressed. I'll let little things slide, and my inexplicable serenity seems to relax those around me. I do cry on the commute home every day for a week. I do cry. My major fear stems from the fact that 3 doctors, 2 nurses, 3 technicians, many mammograms, and 1 sonogram said there was no cancer. A pathologist report said yes. So now I'm trained to trust pathology, the sensations in my breast, and my instincts. My right breast still feels as it did before the surgery, full with tingling from the nipple to the underarm area, much like erotic arousal meets reverse breast milk flow. And the breast surgeon said tubular cancer was not supposed to be this fast growing. I never did breast self-examinations. Every time I touched my breast, I felt something that made me worry. If the normal budges of a healthy breast had made me anxious, how could I handle a lump? My husband found the lump while we were making love, which is apparently a common diagnostic method. I talked with a childhood friend who had had breast cancer and just celebrated her 10-year clear. Her story is awful. Her lump also hurt and was ignored by doctors for a year. A year. She had invasive lobal and she chose to have a mastectomy and chemo. She went for a year with no breast and then decided to have the other one removed and have reconstructive surgery. She says she has no feeling in her breasts. I have too much in mine. The scar tissue in mine compromises my indicators. Pain alerted me that something was wrong. The breast surgeon said that if the tumors returned, it would return in the same place. Now that I have scar tissue there, they'll never feel a lump unless it's sizable. Now that it's been cut, they'll say the tingling is from the healing, from the damaged nerve endings. Every little twinge is a worry seed. Is it hormonal or cancer cell dividing? That fluidish feeling that tingles, is it lymph node drainage? I have a mild panic attack while commuting. I want this out of me, all of it. every little cell, which is impossible. But what can I do to keep these cells from ganging up on me? I have not sent out holiday cards, nor have I wrapped any presents. The house got decorated the week before I went to the breast surgeon, and it's a good thing, or it wouldn't have been done at all. The problem solver, the arranger, must handle her own crisis. I need to find out how to live, how to stay intact, how to manage this. Being diagnosed with breast cancer helps me to put the brakes on myself and rediscover who I am when I'm not busy trying to meet everyone else's expectations. It's made me stop dallying in my own codependent behaviors and quit engaging in everyone else's dramas, but now I have to deal with a huge urgent problem that is my own. My 17-year-old son is more mature than I gave him credit for, and my 46-year-old husband is less. My mother warns my husband that we are working to keep everything good and positive around me for the next few months, and that anything negative or stressful will be cut out like a cancer. And if I don't do it, my family will. 4 of us go to the initial oncologist visit. We're armed with medical documents, questions, pens, and paper. My oncologist tells me straight, but there is some reading between the lines that I would have missed had I gone alone. I'm glad I had the other sets of ears with me. My mother hears that once you have radiation, you're not a good candidate for reconstructive surgery. I had been pushing for radiation, but my mother says they're probably saving that in case it comes back. I didn't read the invisible ink that you can only radiate a breast once. The oncologist gives me my tamoxifen prescription, and she tells me that I'm lucky, that anyone in the Bruno Cancer Center waiting room would cut off an arm to swap places with me. I reply yes, but I don't want to be in that group. I want to be in the group of luckier people, not just one of the ones who'll live a little bit longer. My research tells me that I'm lucky because postmenopausal tubular cancer patients usually live 15 years rather than 5. And since I'm premenopausal, I may win a bonus set of years. I'm reading in a wonderful book, Uplift, about a woman who said she was weak before the surgery and afterwards she felt so much better. Her doctors told her that her body had been busy fighting the cancer. It occurs to me that I'm better off now than before the surgery. Before the lumpectomy, there was cancer growing inside of me. They say they got it all. I need to make sure they did. I need to do everything I can to make sure it doesn't come back. I'm healthier. I take the tamoxifen every morning with a big glass of orange juice. This pill looks so innocent and ineffective in my hand. I've got more faith in the juice's vitamin C than I do in this breast cancer prevention wonder drug. How could such a tiny little thing starve cancer cells just by blocking estrogen receptors? Maybe I'm in some clinical trial by trickery and receiving a placebo. Don't cancer cures have to make you suffer hair loss, nauseate you, burn your skin? I'd take the pill anyway. I finally get my period on Christmas Day. My conveniently timed light flow is a memory. Once again, I bleed through tampons onto maxi pads, clot uncontrollable gushes of blood. I take showers rather than baths for a couple of days and mourn the loss of my little birth control pill that so magically stopped the cramps and the scary bleeding and shrunk the uterine tumor. I realized that the little birth control I took on a mostly regular basis did an excellent job of controlling my period and fighting the fibroid tumor growth down there. If that tiny pill could do all that, and then when I don't take it, the benefits are immediately missed, then maybe, just maybe, this tamoxifen thing is working too. I read that tamoxifen can cause weight gain and that exercise is a lifesaver. I'm glad that I've got 2 yoga DVDs on the way. I've been afraid to move, afraid it would excite the cancer cells into spreading. One of the more frightening side effects of tamoxifen is uterine cancer. If the tumor grows, the doctors say I can have a hysterectomy. A hysterectomy in May when I can take off from work means no more periods and no more cramps, about a pound off my belly. No more estrogen for soft skin, but no more estrogen to feed breast cancer either. No cervix for my man's pleasure. I feel guilty. I read all these books and their stories are so much worse than mine. Even taking the tamoxifen is too easy. I don't have any side effects. The weight gain is probably due to carrot cake and holiday treats rather than the drug. It almost feels as if I should give up something else. My hair, more of my breasts, my marriage, should make me pay my membership dues for this breast cancer club. I might just have to give up my marriage. My husband is frigid against hearing or helping me. He makes me weep, scream, and worry. 5 days after he told me I had cancer, he drags me to a party where everyone smokes and drinks. Many are older than me. I look at them and wonder how they cannot have cancer with the whiskey, the suntanning, the smoking. I do not want to be there, and he yells at me on the way home. I mean, yells at me so badly that I call home and record it on my home answering machine so that he can hear how abusive he was. He does not sleep at our house that night. Things don't improve between us the next week, and I tell them I cannot simultaneously babysit and do the healing and the learning curve of cancer. I have him move out for a while. Instead of feeling a loss, I feel more peace. I sleep. I rest. Did I have to get cancer to illustrate that more needs to be carved from my life? The oncologist and the cancer nurse are in great moods today. They recognize my mom and me the minute we walk in the door and recite my facts to us without even consulting a chart. I'm pretty impressed. The oncologist looks very sexy in an animal print shirt and the coolest electric blue jacket I've ever seen. She is a tall, attractive lady with jet black New York hair. She moves around the room confidently, friendly. If my work involved being around people who were battling for their lives, I hope I'd be like that too. She gives me the most thorough breast exam I've ever had. I'm relieved. I've been afraid to touch it except for bathing, and she seems to think it is just fine. She tells me to stop researching so much and enjoy my life. I assure her that I'm using my December vacation time to get this thing behind me, and I will go forward to normal as soon as I can. While I'm commuting to work, I listen to an imagery and affirmation CD. The narrator, Belle Ruth Napperstack, has such a soothing voice. Her guidance for using the material recommends not to do so while driving, but it's my only downtime, and I have an hour and a half each way, so I give it a try. I remember not to go into a dreamlike state. I cry while the CD plays. I visualize myself on a warm rock in Sedona, seeing the blue, the rust, the green. The light that engulfs me, it lifts me from the rock and pounds in my body. I'm giving myself mental radiation from the sun, from love, from places I felt peace, from nature. Can this really work? The affirmations ease my negative thinking and just slap my perspective into a more positive alignment. I cry again. I need this. I need this every day, twice a day. I'm relaxed when I arrive at work. I look forward to the drive home now, which I had never done before. Do people at work know? It seems like I'm greeted with a bright smile and a quick gaze over my bosom. Are they trying to guess which one? Am I imagining this? I grin and tell everyone how wonderful I am. And if we believe the doctors and the reports, then I really am. I vowed about the Cancer Journey CDs for anyone close to me who's ever diagnosed with cancer. If I become wealthy, I'll give free copies at the Cancer Center. Why can't I be rich and do things like that for other people? My breasts hurt today. I touch and poke to identify exactly where the pain is. It's between my scar and the nipple. It feels as if there's a swollen duct with a splinter in it. I feel something, or I think I do. My husband says he doesn't, but he knits his brows. He says to see how it feels tomorrow. Why are breasts so important to all of us? We love them for function and for fun. What if for every porn magazine sold, a dime was donated to breast cancer research, diagnosis, and treatment? It seems if men want to pay to look at them, a little bit could go towards protecting them. I just don't even have the time or energy to put out to worry about my new marriage. I just have to wait to get well, to get whole. I tell my son that I'd rather live with one breast and miss that than be dead with two. It's so unfair that he has to go through this. I never ever wanted my sons to have to deal with a sick parent. Years ago, I thought I had made a pact with God to let me live until my youngest graduated high school. He's a junior. Does that mean I have 2 years left? What a terrible end of high school for him. I don't want him to have to go through this during his happy end of his childhood. So I have to do what I can do to live. I shop for cruciferous vegetables that should be cooked down so that my cells more efficiently suck the anti-cancer qualities from them. I think anti-cancer soup, a miso base with kale, cauliflower, carrots, and cabbage. But that's soy. I have no luck finding miso anyway. Kale looks more like a table accessory than a food. So I buy a head of cauliflower thinking that it will most likely go into the compost pile. Today my breast didn't hurt, but the tingly, draining, like reverse breastfeeding is going on exactly in the same area as before my surgery. I tell my mother, and we agree that I haven't yet gone through a menstrual cycle while taking the tamoxifen, and it may alter things. On today's commute, I listened to a CD I got called Anatomy of Hope. Dr. Grootman tells stories of cancer patients and his first description of a breast cancer patient's surgery, and it makes me feel faint. I wonder how it is I can be so calm. I had cancer. When people say that about others, there's a tone, a respectful, grievous, oh, I don't feel like someone who deserves that pity or observance, but it's true. I had cancer. Anyone would think I still might. But I realized that one of the things I dreaded the most had happened. I got cancer. I got it taken care of. I'm treating it. I'm doing everything else that I can to make sure that more cancer cells keep from congregating. I don't feel sad or depressed, and I'm in a really good mood at work and home. Things are so peaceful and serene, I wonder how long it can last. Could this stupid little tumor have really snapped my life into place? I finally have my first no-cry day. My husband's moving back in, but we're on a temporary basis. My priorities are my children, my health, my financial security, and my sleep. If he wants to assist, he's welcome. If he wants drama, he can go back to Hollywood. He swears he will stick with me, breast, hair, or none. We'll see about that. After note, he didn't stick with me. We decided to go our separate ways, and we're all much happier and much healthier. Thanks so much for listening. Please feel free to like the podcast, share the podcast, subscribe, and until next time, bye.